What word of the rebels?
Still quartered in Saint-Lariche, ma'am. But they'll be prepared to march at any moment by...
Then we resolve to face them head on. Give word of such to any man or woman fit for battle. Whoever brings me the heads of these insurgents can name their reward.
Yes, ma'am.
Clive and this liberation of his mean to threaten us into submission, and resist Zenoira rule besides. My judgment is sound. I'm certain of it.
I've served beneath you a great many years, my liege. A decade past, you would have clutched the mantle of freedom even tighter than Sir Clive does now. And I suspect that fire in your belly burns yet brighter than you'd have me believe.
Yet when Grandfather refused to bend the knee to Galerius, they forsook us like we were common swine. In the end, his banishment and the confiscation of our lands were the price we paid for survival. If one as proud and dignified as he could be dragged to such...
My liege.
The territory stripped from us is now lorded over by aristocrats, but they spurn proper leadership and grow fat off the very lifeblood of... Far too many have suffered as... Even...
Awaiting your command. Very well.
I shall never fail.
Another time, another life. Perhaps this could have all gone differently. Ah, Clive. A pity it is to see you here. Yet pity shall not spare you my blade. Now, come. Your blood will wash clean the Nordheim name.
Let us see if you can uphold...
Knew that was coming.
Well met, Prince. I surrender. My life is yours to claim, should you but promise to let my soldiers free.
I'll promise nothing. We come for peace, not blood. Now, the rostrum is yours, Clive. Go on.
What could you possibly have left to say to me?
is a key benefactor to the liberation.
He what?
In our fledgling days, we had no backing to speak of, and not to fill our coffers but dust and cobwebs. Until, that is, your grandfather took it upon himself to fund our development. By his words, he'd much sooner see his wealth invested in Cornea's future than stripped barren by its captors.
To say this struggle lacked purpose? To tell me now at its conclusion?
I do not. What remains of your noble house could never risk having its fealty questioned by its Zenoiran masters. Hence, the Marquis sent us here. They will hear you fought valiantly, and were left with no choice but to capitulate.
Wonderful. A drama to rival the scripts of the masters, and I the only one to improvise her lines. 'Tis entirely too believable, coming from that old fox. But should my grandfather wish it, I've no place to disagree. Grant me permission to join the cause, Your Highness.
Any objections, Clive?
Not a one. The Marquis knew all along how this would play out. Reasonable though his methods may be, the man clearly bears a vast and profound love for his granddaughter.
Then we mustn't do that love a disservice. Not to mention our dire need of...
You shall know none truer. And mine...
It shall be done.
I shall hold nothing back.
You have my aid.
Ever weaker!
I shall never fail.
Forgive me, my lord.
Tonight.
Tell our men to stay well clear of its walls.
But of course.
Rumors speak of your lord using his own people.
That you're a band of benighted fools if you believe such...
Come on, Elaine. There's only one way to find out what he was up to.
You won't disturb Lord Gislain's research.
Then perhaps you'd be willing to serve as our guide instead. Tell us everything.
This matters.
Nimble little brat, aren't you? Can't run far like that, though.
I really messed this one up.
What?
You all right? I am now, thanks. I made it into the city, no problem. I turned back and... Anyway, there's no time. I don't know what it... They've got soldiers...
We'll alert Miriam at once. But first... Understood.
I have arrived. Awaiting your command. As you wish.
Do your worst. How can I assist? I'm prepared for anything. Merely say the word. How can I assist?
As expected.
Something.
Healing!
No stopping now! Told you I'm awesome!
Stand before me!
Grant them succor!
We ride!
Embarrassing.
Come here! Come to me!
Consider it done.
I'll not fail you. Awaiting your command. Very well.
Nowhere is too far. At once.
And blood. We owe the girl an immense... Long have I awaited this at last. Zenoira's people will be released from the trammels of captivity, and I shall take my rightful... Conjure a gate, Baltro. As you wish. Arise, he who...
It's just... I heard everything. Back at the sanctuary. Faintly, and through a fog of pain, but still clear enough. Galerius spoke true. Pontifex Rant is my father. I'm sorry for keeping it hidden. If anyone deserves to know, it's you. I only hope you can forgive me.
There is no...
This is the state of Febrith at present.
A lot more purple than I'm happy seeing. Indeed, we have much work ahead of us. But where to begin?
Good seeing you, friend. I'll take your order anytime. Enjoy now.
Whoa!
Yes. Go on, then. The good Prince Gilbert is currently amassing troops at Balmrate in hopes of recapturing his castle. We ask that you and your soldiers cooperate in that siege. But such a request must surely meet the approval of your commander. Might we solicit an audience? Oh, I almost forgot. Where is he? Huh?
It's been too long.
Oh, how far the mighty fall. Our great General Berengaria rotting away in a cage.
It's the least you deserve for double-crossing Zenoira.
New angle alert. Okay. What am I going to do today? Well, I'm going to go to projects, and then I'm going to go to VFX. And in between VFX, I'm going to work on my VFX. Finalize that. What I have just learned today. Just a vibe. Also... Unicorn Overlord, still peak. But I realized something. The Yuri aspect of it. What is Yuri? I think it's like female love, that type of thing, like lesbian love. But I digress. I posted a video on my threads of this. I'm like, like, man, the guy's just staring. But I'm like, oh my gosh, there's that. There's also Baldur's Gate. There's also Infinity Nikki. There's also now Love Bullet that I just watched a few minutes ago. And I'm like, what are these, or just even Angel Beats? No, not Angel Beats. I don't think so. But let's just think about it for a second. There's a correlation with Yuri's. And it's very goddess angelic-like in trying to put that trope in. I have not researched into this, but I'm just like, I just realized that trend. That, wow. That's it. I'm like, whoa. There's a lot of will they, won't they, one from a more ethereal, not innocent, but just like more like higher planed world than the other one, who's usually confessant, more not innocent, but more vulnerable in their feelings, and then the angelic one's more like uptight, regal, more like stubborn, like, hey, no, I'm the one who's supposed to do it. It's like, and then the female's like, oh, it's alright, it's okay. Like, no matter what happens, well, now stick together. I'm like, damn. That was it. Also, I didn't do a ranker yesterday because I was doing homework. On Unicorn Overlord. For this day, put after Joji's song, it will always get better from here. You want your changing. If it only gets better from here. That the tempo, but like me singing it. Okay, first of all, I want to just note this fit right here. This fit. It's nice. Also, it is 12. It's 12 right now. Okay, I have immediately 6 hours to finish up my VFX. Theoretically, or roughly less than 5 hours and a half. And I can do that. I'm gonna fall into the discrepancy. Honestly, okay, what did I do today in person? Well, what I did today in person was I went to projects class and hardly anyone was there. I think it was, when I was there, Isaiah, Tyler, Sam, and I think that was it. And then I joined. And then Hunter came in later. I saw Nina and Shania while I was walking. And then slowly trickled people. But it was dense. Dense is probably not the word. I feel like dense is always like heavy or like majority. But maybe dense is like smaller. Thursdays always be a smaller time. Yeah, and then I made sure to check up on them, make sure they did their things. Kudos. And then I left. I left early because I want to work on my own stuff, and then I need to do that. What I'm going to probably eat today, I don't know. Do I want a fat burger again? No, I don't want a fat burger again. Yesterday was a vibe for a fat burger. I have not moved any of my videos to Google Drive yet, nor has it said my storage is low, so that's gonna be great to know. But otherwise, I think I have to extend that to the next week, so like the third week. See, I did all my videos because I have to do this weekend. I'll keep doing another video. What I have to do this coming weekend is 1, watch the last movie night with Ebnell, which is Rental Family. That'll be interesting to watch. And then also finish my independent study and finish my portfolio stuff. Those are like the 2 things I gotta do. And I gotta lock in on those. Lock in, Nathan. You know, I amount of times I say lock in to myself is harsh. To say the least, that has no real meaning to when I say lock in. But I wish it did. And I keep saying it just so I can remind myself to say it more and not forget about it. Otherwise, I might get... I don't know if I want Panera. I don't want Taco Bell. Do I want a drink? Is that what I'm feeding for? Am I feeding for like a boba drink? Or maybe I just want the One Piece TCG card. Maybe? Who knows? I get the One Piece TCG. I'm just slowly but surely. This is like the side plot, bro. Like maybe, surely, if I were to get the TCG, I will feel better about myself. No, I'm gonna get Qdoba. There, that's a vibe. Okay. Shun away! One Piece TCG. Maybe for Christmas I get the One Piece TCG. For myself, I don't know. There's something about tangibility. Also with my card game. Let's talk about my card game. Now, when you think about like a gacha pool, you know, you have the banners that are vertical. Maybe my card format would also be vertical in that capacity. What do you mean? Well, on the right side, it could be the character themselves, and on the left side would be all the stat stuff, which in of itself is a really cool thing. Because when you have it in your hand, you can see the character fully, and then you can see the stats to some capacity. I'm thinking about that now, like that type of UI energy. I'm also thinking about story-wise and how, example, like redemption arcs are going to be fulfilled, or maybe when it comes to locations, there's like location requirements in the stack, and then when you have it in the domain stack, like have you done this one, then an arc commences. That in of itself is like its own strategy, which I find actually interesting. That I just said it out loud. I actually didn't think about that, but now am I saying that out loud? That in of itself is cool. Like a specific domain card activates an arc specifically. But I like to also have the idea like the arcs are vague, and the arcs are sort of the storytelling element, like the journey arc, or the start of your journey arc, or the Pallet Town arc, you know, like you start off with something and then you start with like certain values, or then you go back to like, oh, okay, this and this and this, and maybe it has like a correlating like number value within the story, so that way it's like, okay, it drops. I just have to think of the card formatting for those art cards. I have not, as of now, as much, but I wish I can. So that's what I'm going to do. Otherwise, I'm gonna get Qdoba. Or I don't get Qdoba, and I get pastries. Your pastries sound good. They do. Okay, I lost aura. What do you mean? Well, I almost went to Qdoba. Like I was at the door, but then I was feeling on my pockets, and then I realized, whoa, where's my wallet? And I'm like, I left it in my apartment. So that's great. So maybe it's foretelling me to not get Qdoba. And I will not get Qdoba. What I will do is I will just eat chips and live off that scraps. And eat string cheese and have go-go squeeze. All that and more. So that's what I will do. And after that, give myself a pep talk not to play Unicorn Overlord. And to not watch YouTube videos, but watch YouTube videos of solar system explosions. So it can motivate me to actually color my VFX. That's all I really need to do. I just need to color my VFX. And to set up the room for my VFX thing. And then edit some stuff for my VFX stuff, which is very easy. Then we're all good. And then I gotta just make like my real thing. Which is that in itself, I'm not gonna start first because I'm gonna go so in depth with it. And it's with like unfinished work, so I don't want to do that. So yeah. It will only get better from here. I think one thing is for certain. Russell's very kind. And I think he can be very serious at times, but I think he's always kind. And that's the biggest takeaway from this class. Anyhow, or very lenient to some capacity. What did I do today? Well, I did my VFX. I turned that in. And I thought I turned it in, but I didn't when I went into class. I came in late in class because, man, the traffic kind of be crazy. Then I made it. It's like 30 minutes. I'm like, oh my gosh. And then I went in the classroom. It was all silent. Russell wasn't even in there. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna guess. It's the art testing. So then, luckily, I'm someone who looks at their DigiPen email. And I did that. So when I did that, I finished that up. Then I plan to I got to get a message from him saying I didn't turn it in, so I'm like, okay, I'll do it. But then I did my mock interview for 15 minutes, and essentially it was like this. I sat down across from him, and then he's like, hello, I'm Jonathan from Net Games. I'm like, ooh, Net Games, interesting. So I played along, but it was kind of weird because he was also he was being Russell. Like, he was talking as Russell, but then he was also Jonathan in this pretend thing. So I was like, the whole time I was more serious as thinking it was from Jonathan's point of view, not Jonathan, but like I was getting interviewed by Jonathan, then Russell. So I was like, okay, yes. So when he was critiquing my reel, I'm like, oh yes, Jonathan, yes, Jonathan. And it's like, probably it was actually Russell talking. Well, it was like, yeah, I'm like, okay. But there's a difference. He entered with a Jonathan, and then when I was like showcasing the reel, I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. He said about my reel, it's very short, which is good because it gives someone like a director just like some leeway to be like, you don't have to do like more than a minute. I think I was the only one who had their second VFX thing. So in VFX class, we had 2 projects to do. For the first project, I did my VAT sim. And then for my second project, I did my centric orbit thing. And with that being said, he commented on both of them, it was great. But I think I was the only one, because he announced it at the end, after everyone did the mock thing. It's like, I think I'm going to be more lenient with Project 2 because only one person put the VFX in the reel. The second one, I'm like, whoa! Whoa, really? Wow. I feel like, okay, sometimes in some capacity, I feel like, you know, if I don't hit a deadline, I don't hit a deadline. But literally, most of the class, there's like 8 people in the class, I think. But most of the class, and one person did it, and I'm like, okay, maybe there's better VFX stuff that they had. And that's great. But I'm like, wow, I thought it was a requirement to have it. So he's being more lenient on that. He even said he was going to be more lenient on it. What I'm also going to do, what he critiqued about my thing was, I'm just going to keep driving. What he critiqued about mine specifically was that the dissipation of the lucky pots should be more faster, like, and it should fall, like the little glowy bit should fall on the ground. For the lava lamp thing, the dissipation should be like more easy in it. My little hack when I did it, great, but I think it should be more smoother outwards. I think I just have to just make another set and then just like make it like dissolve. Then I'm going to, and then for my centrifugal force one, I think what he commented on that one is that having an A and B test for the B to like make it more pop out, like a shadow, pretty much just a shadow, then that would be good. Otherwise, yeah. Is Qdoba open? Bro, we back at Qdoba. But no, I did an art test. I got it through my DigiPen email, which luckily I was like, okay, we're doing an art testing. I just acknowledged you did because I also have to do my independent study thing, send that off. Then after that, which I will do when I get home, overall, he was like, anything we should change? Like, no, luckily. And then Sasha was like, I'm glad I had this class because it exists. So keep doing what you're doing. And then Russell was like, okay, it's called identity fraud. So that's crazy. Otherwise, I think there's a final submission on Monday. So I'm like, bro, stop playing with me, Riot. So that was a thing. And yeah. There's that, and a lot of people did. I think everyone did a dust tornado thing. Here's my dust tornado thing. Like I would have it. It's right there. And then he played the old version behind that. It's like, wow, look at how much you've grown. I'm like, yay, thank you. But otherwise, yeah. Second time around with him, which is good. Now, let me break it down to you. Here's what I learned today. Like, honest to God, what I learned today. I think right off the get-go, honestly, I feel like I've been someone who has been lacking, for the better word of it, of accountability on myself. And I like that at the beginning of September, I spent a days, is that the first day, or the title, was called Accountability. And I think, you know, not just accountability on the videos themselves, but just accountability on my life and what I want to do. And I think it's one of the things when I do try to do a recording of my videos each day, I find myself forgetting. And sure, it becomes repetitive at times where I'm like sort of reliving the same feeling of like, oh yeah, this and I have done this. But I think the matter is that I think there's a weird part in life for me right now, to not over holistically talk about life, but just talk about my life specifically, is that I feel like I've actually just dissipated into work fatigue. And it's kind of sad. And it's one of those retrospections after, it's not even like graduation aspect. It's like I've done this for roughly 3 to 4 years, college, and I feel that fatigue. I really do. And I don't think it's even from the aspect of like, oh, my industry be crazy, or whatever it is. During the mock meeting, he was talking about like, okay, so the company culture. He didn't really talk about the company culture as Joseph, but he talked about the company culture as Russell. And notably, I'm not gonna work for Fragpunk. It was one of those things that he asked, like, okay, if you had to pick a company, what would it be? And I only picked Fragpunk because I did a master study of Syncrete. I forgot what her name is, of like the dust storm. So I was like, wow, that's kind of cool. So might as well just do it. But it's one of those things, like a Chinese company, it's NetEase, and it's like unstable, and it's like, ooh, but it's like, it has a niche community, the community is really good, and so on and so forth. Otherwise, I want to say is that I've been a lot of times just like lacking on myself, trying to find myself needing to work. And I think work in general on assignments have felt like a third-party thing. It hasn't been like my end-all be-all, my magnum opus of actually trying to get good things out there. Not to say I've not put out cool things out there. Like I came from VFX class and I made like my 2 VFX portfolio stuff. And he's honestly said like, it's just there. It's just the little fine pieces. If he's being like genuine about it. And I think he is. Like, what do you mean? But it's one of those things where I feel like when you do something for so long, it doesn't just feel mundane. It just feels like it's not a priority in your mind anymore to do. It's like not just secondhand nature, but it's sort of just not worth it anymore. That type of feeling. Not as boring. It's like, okay, I'm living a cushy life. That type of vibe. Not to say for people who are living cushy vibes, or I'm trying to pretend I'm living a cushy vibe, or I am living a cushy vibe. It is the essence of like, it's not my priority anymore to engage with trying to make something for myself. And I think that's why at the secondary point, I try to make this thing that I don't know, or I do know, is like a card game. And to just make that. And I think that's what's sporadic about it. It's like, okay, I put this as my priority, so like my assignments go in the back end of that. Not to say that the card assignment was like a whole semester thing. No, that came in later in the other half, when I was trying to keep myself awake from not getting sick in November. And more often than not, how did I get out of it is the question and the answer. I think for me, when I feel like I have this ADHD, and I think I'm just self-diagnosing myself at this point, which is bad, but also I could see that. But I think that rubs off from watching other people work and do things. So then I also get rubbed off in no, that it rubs on me that way, where it's like, okay, I'm gonna be work-minded when I'm working with other people around. I'm not gonna be the one who's like talking more so. It's like a weird like accountability priority thing in my head. But then when I'm on my own, I'm sort of like, I adopt those features of people who like talk like this, or I'm like not being as eloquent as I am right now when I talk about whatever I'm talking about. But mainly put, I'm someone who I feel like can't concentrate. How do I concentrate? Well, what I did was I put on some Quedeca and I made sure to concentrate on my headphones, which have been on my head. I'm definitely someone who I feel like deeply is that I just need, the headphones are a symbol of myself that I need to lock in. I feel like I've said this a while ago, but I'll say it again. I think if you're someone who has ADHD, or if you're sporadically going from one project to another project, to another project, to another project, I think there's a secret thing that you need, a secret sauce, if you will. And that is something to account for. Something that will anchor you down when it comes to what it means to work on something, what it means to do something, to be proactive, to go about doing something. So for me, and I hate that for myself, because I don't want to be the type of person who needs to rely on, let's say, a toothpick that I need to like chew on something to concentrate, so I don't have to like think about doing anything else. It's like a fidget toy. Like, I don't want to rely on a fidget toy for me to like actually like work on something. But I think you need that. I think you just generally need that. But I need something that like connects with my workflow and to do things. So for me, it's headphones. And sometimes I just turn on the music, and sometimes, honestly, my headphones are not fully charged. So then I'm like, okay, what is my second thing that I really enjoy, that I've been doing for a lot of the time this month, that I'm familiar with, that I can be like whale noise to me? And that is Quedeca. Quedeca's music is like literally white noise to me at this point, and I'm just like, and I'm like working on code. I put that on, put it on my headphones, and then I go. And then sometimes I'll just like, okay, let me actually focus. I literally say that. And then I focus, and I do it. And then I'm in the flow state. That's how I got myself to work on finishing my VFX. So yeah, that's what I learned today. I learned that I think overall this semester was a mix of me being sick, me weirdly back-ending myself in my expectations of myself, and expecting that my future self would do a lot, which I semi-did. But I think there is, a sense of detachment if I were to, or would have tried to go all in. I think that's what I'm afraid of. Even though it's like the unconscious feeling of like, oh, okay, whatever. But I think it's that weird detachment of going for something that you know is going to be like fulfilling and enriching. Or like, not fulfilling, but enriching. Enriching in like moolah. You know, it's like, would you make, NSFW art, which costs a lot, but, your own art style is sort of like, okay, it's like very niche. That's the vibe. That's just me. I got to tomorrow go to portfolio class and then work on probably my what is it called? My card stuff and my resume stuff. Notably, here's a little shout out to my lighting teacher. I'll just say my lighting teacher. You don't need to make a cover letter. Half of the time, they don't really read the cover letter. Depending on the thing. And also, don't be so narrow-minded on yourself. Because I think a lot of times, yeah, it was Thursday, right? Tuesday. I don't know if I've said this, but I did the baseball cards with people. And I think the one thing, whenever I ask them, what is your 2 strengths? What are your 2 weaknesses? Or what are the 3 things that you did for this milestone? Or what are the 3 things that you did to contribute to others? Most of the time, the strengths are communication. Possibly being nosy in other people's business in a way that means that they're being proactive in checking up on other people. That's a better terminology of that. Or they are more likely someone who is cooperative. Cooperative, communicative. It's good. Or third one, knowledgeable. Knowledgeable in Unreal, knowledgeable in Wise, knowledgeable in trying to understand the code and shaders. But the weakness is these things. Perfectionism. You're not going to always get in the first try. Being more communicative about things that you want to do with other people, but then you feel like you are being too much on them. Drop that. You just drop that. You honestly just drop that. You drop the idea that if you're being too much on someone, but you have to read the room to understand if you're being too much on someone. I think that's a difference. I think there's a difference between you need to do something versus, so try not to feel about it, or try to feel about it and then feel like, oh my gosh, I'm so anxious about it. Versus being someone who's like, okay, I'm going to always be telling you, hey, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. Versus someone who's like, oh, I need to check on this. Here's some things, I think. And it helps me understand, am I doing this right? Am I doing this wrong? Is this the procedure? Confident, like, confusion, confidence, whatever I said is genuine. And then another one would be not being knowledgeable on things, like Unreal, like a Wise. And another thing would be trying to yeah, I think those are the main ones. But those are like those things. And then you see that in the industry and you sort of just like, wow. I think that's what I feel like. I think that's what it is. I feel like I just don't have the stigma of the industry anymore because it's been told to me by people. And also, adjunct faculty, I would say, are the best people to talk to more often than not because they're both active in the industry and also teaching versus someone who has been in the industry and you learn something. There's like a two different type of thing. I wish I knew that beforehand. And it's one of those things where you're like, wow, that's my advice today as well. An extension. So I'm going to go to my apartment. I am probably going to not eat Qdoba. And I think what I will actually do is get the One Piece card game. I don't know. That's just me. I'll also probably get gas. I'm gonna get gas. Brother, what would you rank today? Okay. I feel like I'm like, wow, I'm so sentimental. I love it. But what are you gonna rank today? Well, I'm gonna rank today a solid C. I literally would not say a B because even though I did my things, C is not for card game. C is for careless. Gotcha on the go. I should also mention the questions that he asked during his mock interview thing as Jonathan. So first off, he's like, okay, let's go through your reel. And then I also said, like, hey, is there the sounds on? It's like, oh, it's very quiet. I'm like, oh, okay, sorry about that. But essentially, he was like, okay, what do you think is your best VFX? Okay, and then the next question was, okay, what do you think your worst VFX? Not your worst VFX, like, your weakest ones. And then he says, okay, which one do you think was, like, the most, like, difficult for you to do? And then he asked, okay, if you were working in a project setting, how did you get around doing something teamwork-wise? And then he says, okay, what is your weakest software? And then I said Maya. And I legitimately said Maya because I've just not been used it in a while. Which is fair to say. Like, I'm gonna be honest about that. And he's like, and then he was like, okay, so if I were to tell you we only have Maya and not Houdini, because you can also model in Houdini. I've just been modeling more in Houdini. Man. No shame on him. I'm just like, bro, that's just the reality. You want me to work on all the softwares? Bro, give me a better computer. Give me a better computer that can withstand it all. Okay? That's what I'd say. But with that in mind, that's what I was like. I'm like, okay. That was the most, not fulfilling question, but the most notable question in my synopsis. Because then I'm like, okay, if I were... And then I asked my question to make it more clear. If I were to work in Maya, what are some examples of projects that I would be doing in Maya? And that was good. In my head, that was good. But I think... externally, I was like, Maya, if you gave project. Something like that. It was like very bad interpretation of wording it, but I was talking about it in my mind, I think, really well. And he gave me the example of jellyfish, because there was jellyfish in the ceiling, and if you had to model the jellyfish, and the jellyfish had to have the effects on it, could you do that? And I would say... yes, I can model the jellyfish, but I can't animate the jellyfish. Because that's a different thing. Like, can I rig the jellyfish? I'm not gonna rig the jellyfish. I can model. I think as a tech artist, I think you need to have some understanding of modeling. I feel that. That's real. But I also would say, I think that's it. I am close and near to probably getting them cards, if you will. Getting them... getting them One Piece cards. If there's no One Piece cards, it's fine. But I might be bold. This is the bold version. Because like, this is a scary part of being bold. Because more often than not, it can make you buy things, which I don't want to buy things. I'm a frugal person, not gonna lie, but sometimes, in some capacity, I'm sort of like, let me buy some cards. Even if they're terrible, I kind of just want to sleeve them and just like look at them and see. You know, it's not gonna be in English probably, but you know, they kind of look cool. They kind of look awesome. Maybe I want to maybe I want a Hoyoverse card. I don't know. That's just me. Okay. Updates. I did not get the cards. They were there in the box, but I think it's one of those things where I'm glad I have the FOMO. Not the FOMO, but like the scarado. Like, I am afraid. I think even when you do things that have gotten yourself out of comfort zones and talk to adults, it's sort of like when you have not done that in a while, it sort of just like feels still like, oh, I'm vulnerable still. I don't want to admit that I need these One Piece cards. And I saw a lady was in the corner. I was also walking by someone with a cart, and I'm like, you know what? Do I really need this? No. I think my only one more time would be like early in the morning, and I have to think strongly about Abnel. Because he's watched One Piece. So it's sort of like just that agenda of like, I would give him a card, and that makes sense because of Saturday. So probably Saturday sometime around, I will probably get some One Piece cards. And I'm also going to get gas. I should get gas. I want to get gas. Let me return actually. Get gas. I'm not following your car. What time is it? Wait. Okay, I think that was it though.